Do you actually remember them?
So it's that, and then something about...
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and I've got my beautiful wife Kirstin with me today.
Hello.
To do the review for Netflix's original series, the OA. This is part 2 or series 2. It's the next 8 episodes, which was waited for about a year and a half, so they kept us waiting for quite a while. I should mention straight off the bat that if you haven't seen series 1 or the first part, then you're probably not going to want to listen to this review, because although we're not doing spoilers for the second part, it will spoil the first one, because what we talk about in the second part definitely talks about what happened in the first part. So shoving that aside, let's jump into the review. So the OA part 2 picks up pretty much where the first one ended.
Yeah.
Running after the van, she's been shot. Have they, or has she not actually jumped? And we can quite safely say within the first episode she has.
Yeah.
It gets weird pretty much straight off the bat.
I jumped.
So these episodes are pretty long in episodic length. There's a couple that are over an hour long.
Yeah.
And I was worried that they were going to change the format or do something really different to what we loved about the first season. And what I loved about the first season is it's so wacky, it's so out there. Every episode keeps you guessing. The whole way through we were asking each other questions. What's going to happen next? What are doing? What's going on? That was the first season. Second season doesn't change any of that.
Yeah. It's still one of those shows where you will be annoying your partner by going, what does that mean? Why did he do that? Oh, does that mean this? You know, you're kind of guessing the whole way through, which is really, well, I quite enjoyed that.
The second story, without giving anything away, is still about this kind of, not time traveling, it's about multiverses, and they're discovering what that means and how to travel, and there's new characters introduced in this world that I won't tell you about anything, because it does feel like anything you say does kind of spoil it.
Can't say anything.
But what I do want to talk about is the acting, the cinematography, some of those things that can be annoying to hear in a review, because you're like, oh, you're so artsy-fartsy, but without these things in this show, I think it wouldn't be this show why we love it so much, because the color palette, just the cinematography alone, I think this series is leaps and bounds. What is that?
And bounds.
Leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds ahead of quite a few series out there at the moment. Just its creativity.
You're tougher than you look.
You're kinder than you seem.
What do you love about the OA?
It's really hard to say, because I think as much as I enjoyed the second season, I think I preferred the first.
I was thinking that myself.
Because the first one was all about sort of this idea of a primal movement that you can learn that unlocks the secrets of the universe, which I think is just a brilliant concept. And I actually studied physical theatre at university, and so I love that concept. It gets so much more complex in the second season, and I think you kind of lose that innocence.
It's godlike,
I guess.
Yeah.
Is a way of looking at it. The kind of like the wonder of discovery. I liked a lot of things. I liked the characterization. I liked the costumes. I liked the sets. I liked. There was so much to like about it. There were a few little tiny negatives. Like, I thought in places it dragged a little bit. In places I thought that they were almost intentionally just sort of like stringing you along just for a couple seconds more than necessary. Maybe it had to do with like what they needed to fit into a particular episode, because each episode, it's one of those things where you cannot just watch one episode, because each episode ends on something where you've got to find out what's about to happen.
now open your eyes.
We talk about series on Netflix being bingeable or binge-worthy. I think you mentioned last night when we were watching the first 4 episodes that this is a series that you just have to watch the next one.
Yeah.
Because it leaves you with so many questions, and then it ends on an episode, you're like, what the hell did I just see? There's literally one episode that I wish I could talk about. I think it's episode 3, where my mind just went...
Possible thing.
And I went, what is happening right now? This is a different series now.
Yeah.
And it does do that, which I love about this series. The creativity.
It's so creative.
the dialogue and the characters. So you're still following along OA.
Yeah.
She is the main protagonist.
Yeah.
But along the way, you're jumping from multiverse to multiverse, or universe to universe, not universe. You're jumping to the other realities and it crosses paths a lot. And eventually, towards the end, you do come to this culmination, as with the first season, and it kind of comes all to fruition. But there's a lot of threads this time.
Yeah.
I felt that they kind of left more for the third part. So I'm guessing we're totally going to get a third part.
Totally, hopefully.
But it does feel like there's loads more threads that they've added into this season.
the tapestry is bigger.
Yeah, way bigger. So I guess they must have like a multiverse. A multiverse of storylines that they want to maybe touch on. But it does seem like maybe they've added too much this part. Maybe it's like Empire Strikes Back. It's the middle. So the third part will answer all those questions. The first was just, we were just blown away by the creativity and sheer just kind of ballsiness of what they were doing with the series. It's so new and fresh, which I love about it. And then the acting, again, I don't think there's a weak link in any of them. Some do stand out, and I do love seeing some of the return of some of the characters. So like BBA.
BBA. And the boys.
Yeah.
Which is this, I would say, granny or auntie character that I just love seeing. She's this teacher that's kind of the mother to these kids.
Yeah.
And it works so well in that unit, and I'm always kind of worried for her.
Yeah.
You want to protect her, like kind of give her a hug. It's like, no, it's okay. Don't do it. Or yeah, don't go in that way. You're kind of rooting for her the whole time. Which I think is cleverly done because she's like looking after this unit. And then on the other side, you got OA and whatever those characters are. All over the place and all messy. So it is nice to have that kind of unit that's strong. And there's almost the baseline, which is weird.
Hi there.
One of the best things I really enjoy about the OA part 1 and 2 is we talked about the creativity and what it does to you in each episode, and the reason why it keeps making you want to watch the next episode, because there are so many things in each episode that kind of go in your mind that you're just like, what did I just see? It's so creative that I think if there are any flaws, you can kind of excuse them.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wow, this is brilliant, this is fresh.
I think if there is one flaw in the second season, it's that you get a bit confused sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's a really fine line between, when you're creating something, there's a fine line between like keeping your audience guessing and making your audience downright confused. And I think you need to be careful of the confusion side of things, because then there's frustration and then you're just like, switch it off because I don't know what's going on.
I think that's fair.
I didn't really get to that point. I think maybe in the sort of the latter half, I was starting to feel a bit of frustration and like, just give me a clue, like please, because I don't quite know what's going on. But then, you know, that is a very personal thing as well. I think, some people will get it totally and some people won't.
I think that's fair. We've seen a hell of a lot of TV series and a lot of movies. We kind of know the plots of the A to B, and if we're asking those questions and we've seen so much, then surely other people might also have that frustration.
Maybe.
Let us know if there were points in the comments below. I'd love to chat to you about that. If this kind of did make you go, wait, what is going on? Or at the end, you're like, but you still haven't answered those questions.
Yeah.
Because that is bugging me now. There are questions like, I really wanted you to answer that before you finished the setup.
It's all connected.
That could be somewhat frustrating. So I'm going to give, I'm teetering between a B+ or an A-. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a really tough one, because I'm very tough on scores. I always go for the lower score because I am very careful not to build up people's expectations too much, because then you will be disappointed.
Yeah,
if I stand here and say, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen, you must go and see it. And then you're like, that wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So we don't want to big it up too much. It's wonderful and creative. I don't know, it's a B+ A-.
Exactly. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Thank you so watching.
So for watching.
It's not even
So for
English.
watching.
It's not even English.
No.
Smotching.
Smudging.
Thank you so much for smotching this review.
Yeah.
To chat to us in the comments below, and thank you to my beautiful wife, who I so enjoy watching this series with you.
Yeah.
We did it last year, and this is why I particularly waited so I could watch it with you this time.
Took the day off work.
I know, it's awesome. Do let us know what you thought about this. Check out our other reviews that we've got on there. Just watch one for Deli Crime, which is really heavy, very different to this, but fantastically done. We got loads more coming and trailer reactions. So, but most of all, until next time, live long and Tuesday. I love your mind there. Like, what are we doing?
No, I was getting my fingers ready.
All right.
My fingers don't just do
don't
that.
do that, yeah.
I have to like prepare. Got it.